welcome to the first edition of Main Event Countdown. I am your host, Mr. Main Event Wrestling, and tonight I'm going to count down the top 10 matches in wrestling history from my perspective. My personal opinion, it is biased towards my favorite guys, my favorite types of matches, but tell me if you agree, tell me if you disagree, tell me why, but be civil, don't be an asshole. Alright, we'll start out naturally with number 10. And it is Randy Savage versus Diamond Dallas Page at WCW Spring Stampede 1997. Now, this was a very good match with a very good storyline with two very good workers at a time when WCW was arguably still better than WWE, but it was becoming more even. Not like it was about a year before, when the NWO was just picking up, when WCW was just killing it at every level, and WWE was really not hitting the ball. But this was a great feud, a great match. Randy Savage was with Liz going after DDP's wife, Kimberly, and they posted her Playboy pictures on Nitro, and they just had a really hard-hitting physical brawl, and DDP getting a victory here really started his ascent to being a top guy in WCW, and one of the few top guys that WCW made and didn't buy from WWE. Alright, then on to number 9, Randy Orton versus Mick Foley hardcore match for the Intercontinental title at Backlash 2004. This match is one of the most brutal matches since the Attitude Era, if not the most brutal since the Attitude Era. Mick Foley and Randy Orton beat the high holy hell out of each other, and there were tacks and there was barbed wire, and they teased the fire, and it was just insane. Randy Orton, no shirt, back first into the tacks. That was fucking incredible, and this match made Randy Orton. This match made a lot of people a believer that Orton could be a top guy, and look where he is now. He's arguably the second biggest star in the company, and it's not even really that arguable. And number 8 is from SummerSlam 2000, the Hardys versus the Dudleys versus Edge and Christian, tables, ladders, and chairs. This is the greatest tag team match to ever take place. I'm firmly in belief of that. It was the 3 best tag teams of that time, with the best stipulation for those teams, because you had the Hardys with the wrists with ladders, you had Edge and Christian, who were innovative with chairs, and everyone knows about the Dudleys and tables. And they just threw it all out there, put every ounce of themselves into this match, and they made a match to remember for the rest of time. Every TLC and ladder match will be compared to this first TLC that the Hardys, Dudleys, and Edge and Christian did, and nothing will ever add up to it, in my mind. Alright, and then we have number 7. It is John Cena versus CM Punk Money in the Bank 2011. This is John Cena's best match. This is arguably CM Punk's best match in WWE. And it had the amazing storyline of dropping the pipe bomb and Punk threatening to leave the company with the WWE Championship. Now, they would never let that happen, but they teased that it would happen, and that just made you think, oh shit, what if he actually left with the title? What if he actually left, showed up at Ring of Honor with that WWE Championship, and said, here, I'll defend it in a different company? What the hell? What would they do? What would they do if someone left as WWE Champion and they turned that into a great storyline with great drama, great build, and then the match was damn near perfect. I mean, Cena was on his A game, Punk was on his A game. They threw spots out there and moves that I've never seen him use in any other match. And that the ending with Cena stopping the screw job from happening and then eating the GTS, and then Punk waving bye to Vince from the crowd as he left in his hometown of Chicago. That whole event was based around CM Punk and that match. Like, there were audible chants of CM Punk throughout the show. And it just, the atmosphere around that match is something that I don't think you can repeat on purpose. You can't make that. You have to, it has to just be authentic. And it was definitely authentic, and I don't know if there's really a guy other than CM Punk, again, that could recreate that. And right now, CM Punk's not there, so they really can't recreate it right now. Number 6, Eddie Guerrero versus Kurt Angle for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 20. Now, this is two of the all-time greatest workers working at one of the all-time greatest WrestleManias. And they put on the best match of the show. And it was a technical masterpiece of wrestling. You think wrestling, this should be the match that you envision, because it's Eddie Guerrero, a great wrestler, versus Kurt Angle, an Olympic gold medal wrestler. Now, you can take any match from all time for its technical merits and put it up against this match, and I picked this match on its technical merits. And it was just incredible. I can still watch it to this day and not be bored with it. And I love the finish where Kurt had Eddie in the ankle lock after he loosened his boot, and he kicked him out of the ring, and he kicks him off, and Eddie does the small package. It's just Eddie got one over on Kurt, and lying, cheating, stealing. Miss you, Eddie Guerrero. Number 5, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Bret Hart, WrestleMania 13, the submission match. This match is another technical masterpiece with incredible drama and storytelling, and just that visual that will never leave the annals of WWE unless something catastrophic happens with either Bret or Austin, of Austin just pushing himself up in the sharpshooter, blood dripping down his face, refusing to give up, and then he passes out, and the ref calls it, and they do the great double turn after, where Bret Hart just keeps going after him, and at that point that started Austin's year-long ascension to the top of WWE, where a year later he would defeat Shawn Michaels to become WWE Champion for the first time. Number 4, Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker, the first Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood 1997. Now, it's Shawn, it's Undertaker, it's Hell in a Cell. It's something we had never seen before, and I think that fact, you can't really have a Hell in a Cell match better than that, because you didn't know what to expect. I mean, cameramen got taken out, the cage got broken, they fought on the top, Shawn fell from most of the way up through the announce table. Now, you can take Mick Foley Undertaker in Hell in a Cell and say that it was more entertaining. In some aspects, yes. But this was the best match inside Hell in a Cell we have ever seen. Because it's Shawn Michaels and it's Undertaker. They can't have a bad match against each other. And they just tore the house down. And Kane debuting and ripping the cage door off, tombstoning Undertaker, and Shawn getting the pin after he'd been just brutally beaten. And just an amazing match. And then number 3, Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker at WrestleMania 25. This greatest match of the past 20 plus years. There's nothing you can show me from the past since the 90s, since before the 90s, that will add up to this match. It was damn near a perfect match in the way of drama, technical, storytelling, just everything. And everything added to this match. The referee's reaction, the wrestlers' reactions, the commentator's reaction. I will never forget JR saying, "I just had an out-of-body experience" when Undertaker kicked out of that Sweet Chin Music. It's just, there were about 3-4 times during that match that you thought the streak is done. It's over. Shawn's going to break it. And they just battled and fought and told a magnificent story in the ring. And Undertaker extended his streak, and it was just one of the greatest matches I've ever seen. And then number 2, Ric Flair versus Ricky Steamboat, Chi-Town Rumble for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, 1989. You don't get too much better in the ring than Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat. And they went in there for, I think, close to an hour. Correct me if I'm wrong. And just tore the house down. Non-stop pace. Called it in the ring. They didn't practice this. They called it in the ring for an hour and put on a clinic of wrestling. And this is a wrestling match. A pure wrestling match by 2 pure wrestlers. And just the moment of Ricky Steamboat finally winning a championship. And it was just great. Just, I can watch that match for forever. And then number 1 greatest match in wrestling history, Randy Savage versus Ricky Steamboat for the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania 3. This was a match ahead of its time. The pace of this match, the variety of moves in this match, the constant pins, just, there was never a lull point in this match. It's very much a match that could be competed under modern standards and hold up, because they didn't have the chin lock on for 5 minutes. They didn't have someone cranking on a hold for 5 minutes. They were non-stop, go, 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 go. And it was at the biggest show WWE has ever done, WrestleMania 3, where they had the biggest match they ever did. Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant. That match sold the tickets. Steamboat and Savage stole the show. There is nothing that anyone can do to top that match because of how far ahead of its time it was. It's inspired dozens upon dozens of people to get into the wrestling business. Chris Jericho has said on numerous occasions how much this match has influenced him and how much that made him want to do what he does in the ring. And WWE struck gold with this match, and How could you not? It's Randy Macho Man Savage and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Two of the greatest performers of all time. Randy Savage, my personal opinion, the greatest performer in the history of the business. When you take in the pageantry, mic skills, in-ring skills, just showmanship, everything. You take all that up and mix the best of it, you come out Randy Savage. Because he had the flashy ring gear. He had an amazing array of moves and great timing, and knew what to do, when to do it, and how to make everything great. And he could talk a great match too, whether it was as a babyface, as a heel. I mean, he was the heir apparent to Hulk Hogan in essence for a time, and you just can't get better than Savage. And when it comes to in-ring skills, pure in-ring skills, to me, you can't get better than Steamboat. He's in the two greatest matches of all time. You can't get better than Steamboat when it comes in the ring. He was just about perfect. I mean, no one threw a better arm drag. No one's thrown a better cross body. No one throws a chop like him. No one does anything that Ricky Steamboat did better than Ricky Steamboat did it. And just 4 years ago, Ricky Steamboat still proved he was better than a good chunk of people in the back, in the business. Ricky Steamboat's a legend. Ricky Steamboat is one of the greatest performers in history, and quite possibly the most underrated performer in history. And that'll do it for the first edition of Main Event Countdown. Just give me your opinions. Tell me where you agreed with me, where you disagree with me, and give me your top 10 matches of all time. And until next week, have a good one.